Hello everyone, I'm Sidival, and today we continue reading World and Economica, episode 2. Um, so today my avatar gonna be a little bit slow, because for some reason my iPhone not charging. Mm, I hope it's problem with cable and not iPhone. I mean, if it's problem with iPhone, it makes sense. Let's say buy a really cheap one. But yeah, anyway. So what we read before? Oh yeah, in previous episode, Haru is go back to Schrödinger Street. Um, well, firstly, he actually went to his work, and so far it seems like he not completely quit his job, but at least now he know what Rena can be okay without him helping her. So maybe he gonna quit job probably quite soon. Especially since after this he returned to Schrödinger Street and then get to Eleanor's place. Well, I mean Eleanor's office, um, and meet another people who work to her. Not a lot. Besides Chris, what we already know, there was one old guy, old gentleman, uh, and also one kid, and two of these helping to Eleanor. Actually, don't really know what Eleanor right now trying to. What's her purpose, dream? Um, because she didn't say. She didn't say what exactly she want to do. Caro actually asked her, and she just said what. Pretty much what she needs from Haru it's make more money, but she didn't say for what. Anyway, I guess let's continue reading and find out. We stop exactly on the moment when Haru actually, it seems like he gonna start trading, or at least he start. Well, no, he start reading some stuff to catch up for what's going on in last 4 years when he didn't trade. And we'll see if we're gonna start trading again or not. Maybe he need more time. Who knows? But I immediately banished any thoughts of Marco out of my head. I took a deep breath in. I took a deep breath in and let it out. I felt a familiar tension when it came to returning to the investment sector. After that, the only thing I did was read over the headlines for each week. Hmm. Those headlines were, of course, the matters of interest which people of the lunar surface felt were important. 4 years ago, there were lots of articles on the large-scale redevelopment of the first lunar city. By the way, there is already building for second lunar city. I believe they said what they want to build, but did they already start to building? Anyway, the usual articles on the suspicious of collusion by Emerald Industries, and others asking if they were in violation of antitrust laws, both in relations to said redevelopment. Okay, iPhone is turned on, but it's still really. I mean, it have only 1%, so I probably not gonna use it for today's stream. Anyway, of course, what happened in the 6th Tattoo district, where we were, was then mentioned. After the commotion settled down, the articles shifted to the rise of immigration and all the various issues related to that. While that room, there was a presidential election, so the articles talked about that. However, since the government was widely despised, it quickly went away. The topics were mostly in a loop. Development, rise of immigration, problems arise. Development, rise of immigration, problems arise. Occasionally our topics appeared. For example, stories about a rare murder case on the lunar surface, which was considered safer than anywhere on Earth, about an accident on the orbital elevator, or about the fact that people who had lived for a long time on the lunar surface encountered health problems when they returned to Earth, were quite popular for a time. All the fuss was about a certain research institute, which had reported cases where the muscles of elderly people who had spent long periods in the low gravity were not able to cope with life on Earth anymore. A report stating that this may induce respiratory issues, which some researchers said could be fatal, made a particularly big splash. Hmm. Interesting. Is this gonna be important in the future? I don't remember if we get bits of information in the first episode, which was important later on. Like we definitely get some pieces about word. Hmm. Yeah, I believe we do. There was something what talked about redevelopment before it became important. Or at least I think so, because I definitely was have this in my mind for some time, and I talked about this on stream before it's actually happened. So there was something about this, which means these health issues can be important, for this chapter, or maybe for later on. Hmm. But didn't see how. Anyway. Since there were few elderly people who spent long periods on the lunar surface, and there were no incidents of such deaths on Earth, the commotion ended after a while. At that time, I probably thought nothing of it. Around last year, the energy crisis began receiving coverage, and Avalon name appeared too. It seemed that Avalon was originally an independent energy company. It had been founded 10 years ago, squeezing tightly through the gaps of regulations. By the way, it's quite a cool building. I mean, it's look cool. I'd say it's look kinda futuristic, but not too futuristic. Does it make sense? Anyway, their corporate history simply said that it became a larger with buyouts and buyouts, finally becoming the diet of trying to take down Emerald Industries. Last year, there was a top heading covering half of the front page. It was about Jeremy Bosman, a young man by lunar surface standards who was employed as Avalon's CIO and CTO, a company which recorded sales of over 30 billion. According to Eleanor, their sales were already over 40 billion moves, and at that point, the Avalon brand was showing the highest yields on the stock exchange. It was a brand that made everyone happy. If it's high yields, be getting high yields. Then after that, most of the headline articles were about the stock exchange overheating. What's this mean? The people not participating were they fools? Or were the fools the guys engrossed in it? There were many top headlines about talks between the president and bank representatives, or about market regulations. There also was the competition ceremony of the first city of the lunar surface and its unveiling. First city? Fourth city. Ah, I guess I don't remembering something. Hmm. Um, wait, where did I stop? Anyway. There also was the competition ceremony of the third city of the lunar surface and its unveiling, and the start of the construction of the fourth city. An article stating that the number of residential houses had exceeded 500,000. Right after that, the housing problem of the low-income class, and the first demonstration ever on the lunar surface with the slogan "Give us homes." But it seemed that it had died down quickly, as the next article was about someone residing on the lunar surface having the highest salary of all of humanity at a record-breaking 3 and 2 billions. Maybe it was related to that, but there was also an article about the Pope of the Catholic Church on Earth criticizing the lunar surface as a land of greed in an encyclical. Okay, actually, let me translate what this word means. We've seen it before, but I have no idea. I mean, it's obviously something religious. So maybe I'm not gonna understand everyone if I see translation. See, we go. Yep, no idea. Where's the definition? Is everything working? I'm not sure. It seems everything working. Huh? It's really strange because OBS don't show any internet, and also my browser died when I tried to translate stuff. Okay, I believe everything working again. Okay, I guess whatever. Don't think it's technical really matter. And stream I think work. Okay, let's just continue. Next, the government announced that the lunar surface had recorded a level of prosperity, unprecedented as far back as statistics were kept. A surge of immigration, increased poverty, current meeting to revise the taxation system. Then the revision taken into effect. And last month, there was a headline saying that the lunar surface had more wealthy people than anywhere on Earth. But what about poor people? I mostly just read the headlines and looked at the photos without reading much of the stories themselves. So 10 years worth of reading didn't take long. It was said that since the gravity of the lunar surface was 1/6 of that of Earth, things on the lunar surface proceed 6 times faster than on Earth. Does that make sense? Not sure. Well, when all I did was read the headlines, it did feel that way. Seeing the breakneck speed at which the lunar surface moved, I really started to think that uncovering far routes in the applications a welfare institution had submitted to a government office did seem pointless and futile. Um, this was what I found in a relatively light paper for the general public. So the more sensational ones were likely making the whole thing into a lively spectacle for people to scowl over. Not to mention that what if you did the same thinking with the Stronger State Journal, which was always obsessed with money. It would probably just cause eye irritation. Hmm. In any case, it really wasn't hard to pick up the gist of the market. I thought I'd stayed out for so long. For the past 4 years, I'd been living with my head buried in the sand, but I still picked up some information. Now, if the newspaper headlines were this aggressive, the state of the stock market was pretty obvious. If I were to use the price from Marcus' lexicon, I'd say, "Welcome to the age of gold and glitter." Hmm. Oh, this is the way to do it. Hmm? That was 100 times more interesting than history class in school. Really? It seemed that this was 20th century fanboy was able to pick up on what I was doing immediately. Be objective. Be objective is Eleanor's favorite saying. Only if you're able to do this while you're neck deep in the market. Is it difficult? It was. The further down I delved, the narrower my sight became. Then, in what a worrying situation, with my needle-white vision, I could not think about more than one or two things at once. When I acted without even being able to question the validity of what I had thought up. Presence of mind, trained with clarity. When I returned home, my usually tight-lipped father hit me with whose words instead of his fist. Hmm. To speak frankly, I probably wouldn't be able to understand what that means, even if when I spent my entire life trying. Is it gonna be important in the future? By the way, we still don't learn a lot about Haru's family. Like, yeah, we know what they take him in the end of uh, first episode, but we don't really talk a lot about them in this episode. It's like he hardly mentions them at all. It's kinda interesting. Mm. Well, one swallow does not a summer make, or one whole day, for that matter. Huh? It all depends on your daily dedication. I'm not familiar with every swallows of summer, Tau. It's just that I don't want to mess up again, like I did in the past. That's the only thing I want now. I could tell that Chris was feeling uneasy watching Marka innocently asking me questions, as I answered them. And still, I continued to flick smoothly through the articles on the terminal with my right hand. Mr. Hall, why did you quit investing? I was saying that was on your mind right away. I believe that it was a privilege of being young to be filled with curiosity. When I pushed up the corners of my mouth into a grin, Uncle seemed to gasp in revelation. Sorry. I'll tell you about it when I'm feeling more inclined. After saying this, I let Chris seem a shrine in my shoulders as she looked in my direction, seemingly worried. Oh yeah, Chris. Yes? Chris was looking over at me, just up straight as I called out to her. I'd like to see your investment data. What? His blue eyes were wide open behind her round glasses. Well, it's a bit embarrassing, actually. She shrunk down as she cast an upward glance at me, to an extent that made me pretty sure she wasn't joking. Only a fellow investor could understand how embarrassing it was to show someone else your investment data. However, if Riz was indeed using the program Hagana created, I could use it as a basis for my investing choices. So, it was necessary that I saw it. It's kinda nice what Haru is still gonna be using Hagana's program in the way even without Hagana's around. Especially since he was really afraid of this program in the first episode. I mean, in the start. But now it seems like he's happy with it. Which is nice. It's because I heard that you had good results. I want to see how my decisions from back then hold up in today's market. Chris looked away. The look on her face said she wanted to say no, if she could. If it's a secret, then that's fine. Ah, no. Oh, okay. I'd like you to put the transaction records here. Saying that, I took out my personal terminal from out the bag I had brought to work and handed it over to Chris. The reason I said it so businesslike was because I understood why she was being so hesitant. It was strange, but showing someone your stock transaction portfolio was really embarrassing. Interesting. Unless you were an infallible genius, then undoubtedly you'd have a blunders in there. Also, if you were really committed to this business, then it was not simple mistakes. Normally, you bought stock when you believed your judgment was correct. Those mistakes were proof that your judgment was wrong. Also, you'd look back more than once and clutch your head, wondering how you made that mistake. Fueled by your greed and bought too much, fueled by your fears and sold too much. Foods were all too common. In our words, it was an expression of all your feelings and skills. While the data was being transmitted wirelessly, she held her hands between her legs and squirmed about. The data was a record of the feeling and ideas Chris had, what she thought, what mistakes she made, what were her success. When Barton looked over my transaction history, he said, "They were good transactions. I could feel your determination in them." I understood quite well the people who got angry when someone said that stock trading was a gamble. Stocks were not just a question of probabilities. You tried to outwit ours with your own speculations. It was a real challenge. Please, don't laugh. He said that as the data transfer finished. You'd probably not look that embarrassed even if I'd asked to see your panties. This time Chris' face was clearly red. I shrugged my shoulders at her, and then looked at Marco beside me. Is Chris wearing embarrassing panties? No, I'm not. Marco had quick wits. I showed I was lighted by jostling my shoulders up and down in place of my unmoving face. Chris pouted, turning away, and Marco gave a wide, toothy laugh. As we were doing all this, the door opened, and the golf returned. It's become quite lovely, I see. With his manner and outfit, it really sounded like scorn, but it seemed as if he meant not ill will. However, as the chief executive ethics officer, I cannot overlook sexual harassment. I guess he heard that. It was a perfectly reasonable concern, but his all too serious behavior brought back my rebellious spirit from 4 years ago that I had forgotten for so long. I thought it was important information, in case I were to invest in underwear manufacturer. Did I not mention that from the start? Mention what? I won't allow you to invest in companies dealing in dangerous weapons. Okay. I was dumbfounded. Legov curled back his silver mustache, and upon prompting returned to his stoic expression, clapped his hands together. Marco, stop louching. Are you asked, are your tasks progressing well? Ah, no. Madam has exceptional expectation for you. Make sure you do not disappoint her. Okay. Started up, I responded right away, and motioned for me to stand up, saying, well, that's how it goes. Of course I followed alongside, it was his desk. Marco then pulled out two more terminals from the drawer and turned them on. What will you both be having? What? Ah no, going home. Yeah, I guess he was suggesting dinner. Chris answered almost immediately, ignoring my question. Legov nodded, and Chris snapped her terminal shut. Shall we go to the church? Chris invited me along while Legov was on the phone placing an order for delivery. Eating, then working even more after that. It was not uncommon on the lunar surface, and there was probably a few places in existence which surpassed Schrödinger Street when it came to our working. Except this was very different from a branch office of a government agency, and neither Marco nor Legov appeared disturbed by it. They looked a little dependable to me. Yeah, and it made me feel excited. Hmm. What is it? After saying goodbyes and leaving the room, Chris asked that as we walked down the dim corridor. Nothing at all. He seemed displeased with my evasiveness when I answered with that, but it only lasted up until I took out my terminal. Um, hmm? Are you really going to look at them? She was talking about her transaction records. You're really bad at giving up. You originally made this program, right? If there was, if there are mistakes, then it's me who should be embarrassed. Well, that's true. It just... And of course, no matter how audacious you were, I won't be surprised either. Yes. Liz was holding her head in her hands, grabbing her shaggy blonde hair. Then, when we got onto the elevator, she spoke in a small voice next to me as I was loading the data. But it could be really stimulating indeed. Was everything Miss Hagana and you had put together. When I looked down at Chris, who was at my left side, she looked up at me. So, to make sure you don't have an episode. Saying that, she wrapped her arm lightly around the arm that held my crutch. Okay. It's kinda cute. It seems like she not gonna give up on Haru. If I don't think it's gonna work. I guess who knows? Well, obviously, as we know so far, he not really forget Hagana and mostly thinking about her. But again, who knows? Maybe Chris also can take place in his heart. In this case, episode 3 gonna be about who he gonna choose. Who knows? They turned to the side and looked down. Her ears were red to their tips. He said that she wanted to live however she wants. It could just be that she hated how she was so timid. Or it could be that she just didn't mind that I still couldn't forget about Hagana. Whatever it may be, I believe it took courage. I tried very carefully not to sigh as I cleared my throat. Then I said, Hey. Yes? My hands are full, so could you press the keys? I turned the terminal towards Chris, and she used her free hand, the one not wrapped around my left hand, and pressed the buttons timidly. Until we reached the church, neither of us spoke much at all. It seemed that Chris was too apprehensive to hold hands with a guy in public, and I wasn't much for that either. Chris had been using the program he had developed for investing, but the data was just as shocking as Chris made it out to be. As someone without any knowledge were to look at this, it wouldn't look like anything more than rows of numbers. Ticker symbol, stock price, number of stocks, profit, loss. If I were to condense it and summarize the data, it would be sufficient to just have the number of stocks and profit loss in two sections. Still, there was a healthy amount of data. Looking at the trading times, it took from a few seconds to, at most, a few dozen minutes for a transaction to complete. This method was a typical program-based trading, employing a calculation capacity that far exceeded that of humans to gather up small change. It looked like the ticket was just spitting out random data about stock prices and amount being traded in the hundreds and thousands every day. But amongst all of that, there was one number that made some sense. That was the profit loss. Just by scrolling down, you could see the data in that column increase fascinatingly. By dragging down on the screen, you could see by the numbers in the twinkle that the profits were swelling up. Currently value plus 1,448,230 moles. Capital was 2 million moles from half a year ago. Interesting. I thought I was off a digit, but the number was right. Of course, the money probably wasn't Chris. Eleanor likely supplied it. This might have been a math whiz, but this was still a matter of entrusting 2 million moles to a 16 years old girl. It was just as Lil had said. This wasn't a game. Eleanor and the hours were the real deal, and were very serious about it. Also, by looking at these numbers, I understood how Chris was able to find the courage to take a bold leap forward. If he were to add 20% of the profits to her base yearly salary, then Chris would suddenly have, for her age, a very reasonable income level, and by the standards of the lunar surface. The amount of money I frantically managed to scrape together for 4 years ago, telling myself I'd reach to the ends of the world, didn't even come close. This was what happened when a giant genius who had skipped grades and get into a lunar city university applied herself. If I was given 2 million moves back 4 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this well. The bigger the things got, the tougher it was to make it move. I had learned that firsthand during the investing contest. To handle something large, you needed a large vessel. I was just then coming to realize how mediocre I was, while at the same time feeling a bit of affection for the oblivious Hal of 4 years ago. But I was not mortified. Instead, I was honestly having the time of my life, looking at the path Chris' abilities were tracing. Al. I came to my senses when I was called out to, and looked up. I realized that the potato gnocchi I had held in my chopsticks had fallen on the table. I was well aware that my face didn't move, but it still grimaced as I picked the gnocchi back up to eat it. I simmered al dente in cream. Delicious. His dinner probably came from Chris' cut of the donations. Back then, it was me and Hagana, who was mostly from Lisa's part-time job, that she brought back with her. Hello. I couldn't ignore being scolded a second time. Understood. And what would be? When Lisa asked me that, I shrugged my shoulders and answered, "Don't look well eating." And turned it off. and said it bluntly after seeing that I hadn't given up, placing it nearby with screen still on. This looked like how you touted manners to children, but I didn't feel she was necessarily wrong to employ that method now. Because with that has rocket hard something which I had forgotten about for this past 4 years. Like catnip to a cat. One is the matter that Grace tilted her head. You have fork stuck in her mouth instead of chopsticks. Please, your fork. Ah, still haven't gotten over that habit of sticking things in your mouth, it seems. I'm sorry. Cats, you see, they get they get intoxicated by a plant called catnip. You didn't know? Unless it's on the test. I usually don't know it. I bet you never had to take a test on modesty. But you sure got it. So it's fine. Cats, you see, they get like this when you give them catnip. He's motioned over to me with her chin as she ate pickled olive. Catnip is similar to this olive, actually. Cats glue their eyes to it if they see it. Drool just sleep out, really. Growing all over, going meow meow, purr purr. You can smack them on the head or pull their tail. Only things you can do is snatch it away, like this. Ah! I snatched up the terminal. I was glancing down at, restlessly. My eyes chased after the terminal just like a cat would, and my side finally dropped to Lisa. I squirmed awkwardly as I ate my noche. Was he like this on the way here as well? Ah. He looked at me, then regretfully gave a small nod. Seriously, can we have a few cars were on the lunar surface, you'd get into an accident. He sighed, and I hung my head. Chris looked back and forth between me and Lisa, and after hesitating a few moments, ended up asking, was it like this back then? Lisa glanced over at Chris, then looked at me with an icy glare that poured over between scornful and dejected. Then she answered, yeah, exactly like this. Actually, he was a disobedient little brat back then, completely full of himself. Every meal I took the burner to make him, he stuffed everything he could into the rude mouth of his, and it was just like me. Yeah, I ate. Yeah, I'm done. I got pretty sick of it. Ugh. Chris tried not to laugh, but a small chuckle escaped right at the end. She tried to cover it up by rubbing her nose. Boys never grow up. After Lisa said that, she let out a big sigh. As I listened to the sound of tableware being washed, I was gazing at Chris' data, as per usual. I began looking deeper into the data and understanding the general trends of the widely dancing lines of numbers. Her criteria was company selection. Her criteria to determine prices, and the most important, and that which caused the most trouble for Hagana, her time to buy and sell. It was that Chris invested that was amazing per hour. It was very pleasant. How should I say this? It was as if, right before my eyes, without any interference, my ideas and intuition were being made into reality. Things I'd only been able to make out fairly before seemed like they were being struck by a spotlight, and it seemed like they were about to pass on me at any time. I felt that 4 years ago, I thought it was only briefly, Hagana and I saw heart to heart. We literally were eating and sleeping together, leaving everything to be felt and tough. It couldn't have been my delusions. Except, there was a sheen to it now. The program that Chris was using had been polished to a shine. I supplied the iron, and Hagana smarted it, and Chris had polished it. Just as Chris had said, there was a lot of influence from Hagana, of course. Some of the evaluation criteria were like foods that had come about from my figuring with Hagana and that hard head of yours. Your meaning escapes me. Say it more clearly. Are you an idiot? I could almost hear her say those words in my ears, even now. However, what felt from Chris' program wasn't Hagana's tone. It was just influenced by Hagana, showing only her awkwardness and immaturity. Chris saying it might be shocking may have just been her way of bragging, confidence in being the next generation. The slight cramp in my right hand was probably due to flicking through the data too much. It'd be nice. When I was pointing to unexpectedly, my gaze turned in the direction of the voice. It was just Lisa, drying off her hands. There wasn't anyone else there, after all. If you got over that bad habit, you're thinking about Hagana, aren't you? That bad habit of looking at your right hand. It's become a bad habit? Well, yeah. Also, when you look at your right hand, it does feel like you're looking at your right hand. It's like you're looking at something bizarre, something horrifying, like you're looking at something you can't control. It's easy to tell. That's the first time you ever say that. Of course it is. Lisa gave a bright smile. When she finished drying her hands, she removed the cord that held back the sleeves of her habit, then slightly sighed. It wasn't something I could really say. It wouldn't be too harsh. It would be too harsh. Now it's fine? Well, better now. As Lisa spoke, she opened the cardboard and rustled through it. She took out a brown bottle. 4 years ago, I only knew that it was alcohol, but by now I had learned it was called brandy. Do you want some? I'm still a kid. Yeah, so that's a yes. The spiteful remark was aimed at me 4 years ago, and how I also aimed to hide. I shrugged my shoulders, which caused Lisa to chuckle in delight. Don't need it. I know. Lisa pulled a small amount into her glass, then closed the bottle. Then, without even sitting in a chair, she cooled the whole things down. That's not the sort of behavior I expect from a nun. Yeah. Well, we are on the moon. You almost had me smiling there. I failed. Then said that without a trace of feeling or emotion as she opened the bottle immediately, pouring more in the last time. I kid. This is just fine, actually. This liqueur is to wring away the pain. Is this translated correctly? I don't understand why she said I kid. I think it can be a mistranslation because you see, sometimes it have some mistakes. I mean, at least it has mistakes what I can notice, which also mean I probably skipped something or not noticed because my English, as you know, obviously not really bad, not really good. Anyway, drink away the pain? Yep, I'm so badly injured. It couldn't have walk straight without my support. Praise and assistance was finally able to walk on its own feet again and left, you know. Okay. Enough of that. Seems like you forget in a heartbeat unless I reminded you. I ain't forget. I ain't forgetting. When those words, which I'd said so often 4 years ago, came out of my mouth, it made me gasp. Liz looked at me as I did that, and her eyes in delight. I know, but when you're looking at that terminal, you look just like a little boy looking at the treasure map. If I were to go over there, I'd give you a big hug. It feels like you'd say, "Shut up, let go, old hug," doesn't it? Liz was probably able to pick up how displeased my expression was beneath my emotionless face. Her shoulders were now shaking as she laughed. But I might be open to lying on your lap. I said that just to strike back with something, and it caused Lisa to look surprised. And so, I started guided by a level of inertia. A smile crept over her face, since swirled her glass, and thought there was no ice in it, and spoke as she looked into it. When, like on someone laps, you can jump to work whenever you get an idea, after all. Hmm? Oh, you're right. Shish, don't be so impressed by that. But it might be a bad idea to let you use my lap as a pillow. Huh? I want to stay on good terms with Chris. Okay. It truly felt like this time my face won't move out of sheer annoyance, but the smile on Lisa's face had disappeared at some point. Her eyes were so piercing as she looked at me. Didn't you notice? What? That thing you're looking at. It's Chris and Messens, right? When Lisa spoke some showed she still had no interest in it, but I know it from the pressure. Chris had been by your side that entire time. You weren't fixated on it, was it? Wasn't she? Yeah. Did you see the look on her face? I panicked upon being asked and searched through my memory, but came up with nothing. Like for example, Chris would be by your side, and every time you took a deep breath or shifted, she was waiting for it. Waiting for what? Waiting for it. Don't you understand? No. Honestly. Listen, she was expecting to hear something from you. Like whoa, or no way. I was dumbfounded. My gaze moved reflexively towards the bathroom, over to where Chris was taking a shower. She wasn't the type like Agana, who could go in and out of their jacket without batting an eyelid, so it would probably be a while before she came back out. Anyway, a word? Yeah? When she comes back out, you need to say something. Got it? Yeah. Honestly, just watching that was pulling at my heartstrings. After watching her complaints, she took a sip of her brandy. But, well, I'm really glad things are going well. Things? Looks like you're enjoying yourself. I looked down at the terminal in my hand when Lisa said that. Indeed, despite being that scared of the stock market, when tossed with data, even eating suddenly became a chore for me. But I was different from how I was 4 years ago. If I were to say I'd so grown, then it would be then it would be on this front. Looking in from outside and being on the inside are different. I still think things are fun, but when I'm putting money on the line, then I really will come here to thank you. And if I don't, well, then I want you to help me through my suffering, comfort me and support me. It was sort of pointless to look after you then. When it means I'll need to grow up. I took the glass from Lisa and drank a bit of the alcohol. It wasn't as bad as when Lisa had let me drink in her room 4 years ago, but I still didn't really like the taste of hard liquor. It's just weird to think bitter things taste good. And people even get drunk of booze. You're totally one of these people, aren't you? When I said that, Lisa took the glass back from me and drank a bit of it. Then she dug into her bosom and pulled out her rosary. The Lord bestows the ordeal upon me. It'd be, it'd be, it'd be better if you didn't have it. Think so? Yeah, because not all people can shake off with demonic beckonings. My expressionless wasn't from the paralysis this time. I came by it honestly. I looked into her eyes, but of course Lisa didn't look away at all. The fact that she still had whose soft, gentle eyes made me think she was incredible. Lisa extended her hand slightly, touching my bangs, then caressed my cheek. By knowing that, you may really be able to save who's tempted by the devil. But I won't be saved? Magana had disappeared and couldn't be found. What if she came back, thinking that raised my head again after these 4 years? But the hand I wanted to hold wasn't there. When I said that, I was aware that rather than being angry at Lisa, I just wanted to be spoiled by her. Lisa knew this too. It's impossible. As long as you believe you can't be saved. She said it was cold, was taking words with a smile. It was at times like that, but I really felt fortunate to have met Lisa. I'll take that to heart. I'd love it if you take to heart the joy of proper table manners while you're at it. Sorry. What was the only thing I didn't try to refute or joke about? Lisa flipped my banks, then picked up the bottle of brandy and stood up. But it isn't wrong. Huh? If one believes God does not exist, when even if he were to appear before you, then you wouldn't think it was him. In that sense, the world is formed around the desires of individual. Whose we believe shall be saved. That is what whose words mean. So if it's true that Hagana isn't here, the world you see is completely different depending on whether or not you think she'll come back. I couldn't even feel frustrated by that fact. Lisa, what is it? It's almost like you're a nun or something. Well, when Lisa glared, I thought that I was trying to give a little buyback for raising up the corners of my mouth with my fingers. Lisa gave a shish. As she stood up and put the liqueur back up into the cupboard. As she did, the sound of the door opening could be heard from over towards the showroom. Chris came out, luring the twisted up hem of her rather thin shirt, which was probably her pajamas, and recalled quickly that I was there. Practically, she let go of her hem and wiped her face with her towel in a fluster. Oh, you're still here. Chris blurted out her excuse with a weak smile as Lisa, the manager of morality, slumped her shoulders in dejection. I was thinking I should be getting back. I could tell that Lisa was glancing over at me. But I certainly wasn't that stupid. There's something I wanted to ask. What would that be? You've improved upon the program amazingly. There's a lot I wanted to teach you. Oh, of course. It's squealed with a glee on her face, despite as brightly as her freshly washed golden hair. Just when Lisa was passing by her on the way to the entrance, she took the towel on Chris' shoulders and gently moved it to rope over her chest. Before that, can you change? None. This might be what she was used to wearing, but a tin shirt could never completely cover a blossoming woman. Chris went into a panic, not knowing what to do. She ended up dashing off to her room, as Liz instructed. Why are all girls who comes here like that, I wonder? Isn't it because of you? She appeared quite delicate, but I didn't think Lisa wasn't really bothered by small stuff. I'd often seen her come out of the washroom, exposed shoulders, going to get a drink of water. I want to refute that, but I have a few things come to mind. I think it's great that they're like you, Tao. Not bad. Lisa pointed at me and signed, doing to the door. As I watched Lisa live like that, Chris returned after having just thrown something on, not even wiping the sweat of her from the shower. Hannah was like this 4 years ago, as she was in the midst of writing the stock program. She jumped out of the bathroom, not even caring if she were naked or not. She came up with something. With that in mind, Liz was timid and easily ashamed, so she was still classifiable as a sensible girl who was easy to get along with. Her frame was also a bit different from Kagana's delicate and malnourished form. The sweet aroma of soap from her freshly washed body filled the air, and it might have been from her damp hair, but her face looked more mature uh, and so attractive that it was hard to reconcile her appearance. Hmm. At least Haru is noticing Chris, sorry, and so attractive that it was hard to reconcile her appearance with that of her muscle-bodied father. If only I hadn't met Hagana. I wasn't completely without whose thoughts. But it wasn't truly because Hagana was there that Chris thought of me like that. It seemed that one of the reasons was that she had become jealous seeing Hagana and me so engrossed in that we were doing. The world never ran that smoothly. Even so, a soul who had gotten a little older, I now was broad-minded enough to call the naked truth. I'm off tomorrow. I won't be going back that soon, so I don't need to rush. As I said that, I abruptly fell from Chris' banks. She stared blankly for a moment, then smiled sheepishly. Spent most of the time of my days, off in my dorm room, going over my college assignment or reading. With my body like that, and my lack of money, I was literally a burden on this lunar surface, which put at 6 times the speed of Earth. Um, is there already next day? I can't get if it's a new day or it's just he's remembering three things. Just if it's a new day, I want to stop stream. I guess let's figure out. So while I ate breakfast, I finished up my work for the correspondence college whose campus I had never set foot on. Then I'd access the library on my terminal, download the wisdom of humanity, take a seat near the window, and relax while I read until noon. After that, I ate lunch, then took a nap, read, or guessed outside. In the poor housing situation of the lower surface, it could not accept anything from a dorm room led by the public office. However, I didn't hate the view from my room. Okay, it's new day. So let's stop here. Yeah, I know it's short stream, but okay, well, complain again, but I don't like our reading today. Well, funny enough, it's sometimes different. Like today, I feel like I'm reading okay, but for some reason I'm struggling to pronounce stuff. Uh, but more than that, my problem is my brain not braining today. I I'm reading stuff, but I just I understand more sense, but I feel like some sentences I completely just flew over my mind, and I just reading, and I just don't register whatever I reading. Um, so yeah, and besides, well, yeah, there's two things. Firstly, this. Um, so and another things what I want I need today's record reaction for Husband Hotel, episode 6. And better to do it a little bit earlier because then maybe I finally gonna uh, go to the back in the right time because lately I'm uh, going to sleep really late, which is bad. Pretty sure one of the things, thing why I'm struggling today is because I didn't sleep enough. Mm, and also more things. It's not about extremes, but lately I became again drinking a lot energy drinks, and I don't like it. Anyway, it's not like important for stream. Somehow, I guess it's excuse why I'm stream only for 1 hour today. But yeah, at least World Economica is twice on a week, so we're gonna continue on Saturday. But for now, goodbye. Have a nice of the day.